begin with some major updates from the 2024 election. In the Republican race, former Vice President Mike Pence announced that he is ending his campaign. That's right. Mike Pence dropped out to spend more time in a separate bedroom from his wife. I will say, though, is it really ending your campaign when your campaign never got off the ground to begin with? It's like turning down sex when you have erectile dysfunction. Like, the choice was made for you already, my guy, all right? I'll be honest, though, I feel bad for Mike Pence. His shot at the White House was over the moment he decided to do the right thing and not overturn the election. He had to get the same people, that's right, give him some round of applause for that, yeah. He had to get the same people who wanted to hang him to hire him. I mean, for a guy so Christian, Mike Pence gets a lot. But Republicans deciding they don't want to run against Donald Trump after all is not a surprise. What is a surprise is that there's finally a Democrat running against Joe Biden.
President Joe Biden is facing a challenge from a member of his own party. Democratic Congressman Dean Phillips of Minnesota has entered the 2024 race for the White House.
I think President Biden has done a spectacular job for our country, but it's not about the past. This is an election about the future.
Phillips, a 54-year-old former business executive, believes President Biden is on pace to lose to former President Donald Trump and needs to be challenged for the Democratic nomination.
I am the Democratic candidate who can win the 2024 election. So I say our time is now, and I say, and let's say it all together. What's my slogan? 1, 2, 3. Everyone's invited.
Listen, you can't do a call and response on day one of your campaign. No one knows what your slogan is. Because what do I always say? On the count of 3, say it with me. 1, 2, 3. That's right. You don't know what I always say because it's my first day. Right? Now, a lot of Democrats are upset that someone is challenging Joe Biden, which is weird because they're always talking about how democracy is in peril. Now this guy's like, well, I'll run too. And they're like, no, we don't mean democracy in the Democratic Party. So I think it's good that they've got someone running against Biden. Even if you support Biden, you should want him to get some practice in the ring because so far, outside of Trump, Biden's toughest opponent has been gravity. Yeah. We should be glad Biden is getting challenged, okay? I don't know if this is the guy, though. The first time I hear about you shouldn't be when you're running for the highest office in the land. Sure, Trump didn't have political experience, but at least I saw him on TV. And I don't need Dean Phillips to be a celebrity, but he should at least go on one episode of Naked and Afraid. Just one, okay? That's right, I'm outside, hitting the streets of New York to see if people's political curtains match their political drapes. Let's see if New York surprises me. How would you describe yourself politically?
Liberal.
Liberal?
Absolutely.
Okay. You are wearing a denim trench coat, which is pretty liberal. When people see you, what do you think they see politically?
Probably a liberal.
Politically, definitely more Democratic.
Okay.
Like, voted for Democrats in the last several elections.
Okay. How do you feel about paying taxes?
Oh, I don't like it.
Ooh, sounds like you're a Republican. When people see you, what do you think they see politically?
First, I'm Asian, right? And I'm immigrant, right? So I think they do have a stereotype. But then I went to actually historical African-American college. It's called Bloomfield College. So
in Jersey?
Yeah, in Jersey.
Okay.
So like,
I don't think they're an HBCU.
No, but
there's a lot of black people that don't make it.
Yeah, that's not HBCU. But like, I have more relationship with African-American buddies. So
gotcha. Some of your best friends are black.
Yeah.
We did find some books that matched their cover.
I am a registered Republican.
Okay. And some that even LeVar Burton couldn't get a read on.
I was originally like a supporter of Ted Cruz, and
damn, you a Ted Cruz guy? I don't think there's any Ted Cruz guys.
Politically, I would describe myself as conservative.
When people see you, what do you think they see politically?
I think they see liberal. I live in New York. I'm a construction worker.
Construction worker, the classic progressive job. When people see you, what do they think you are politically?
Democrat, liberal, someone who's just down with the agenda, big city, liberal agenda.
What is the big city liberal agenda?
Abortion on demand.
What do you got against abortion on demand?
I think that, we should promote policies that support life, not necessarily.
You've never had the wrong person pregnant. Damn, these people must have some shit in common. Now, there's got to be at least one Republican talking point that you agree with. I mean, at least conspiracy theories.
I mean, I can't think of any specific. None that I've heard that I remember. What was Pizzagate?
When it was like putting little kids on as a topping on pizzas.
I don't remember. I never heard about that.
Really? What about book banning?
No, I don't.
What if it's this book? Come on, Caroline.
Oh, God. Yeah.
See? You agree with book banning. Maybe they couldn't get turned on to the opposition's politics, but they could get turned on by the politicians. What Democrat are y'all unexpectedly attracted to?
Barack Obama. Love him.
That's true. I kind of agree with that answer. I think Vivek? Yeah, he's pretty good looking.
Ooh. What Republican are you unexpectedly attracted to?
What's his Cawthorn in the wheelchair? Possibly. I don't know. He's unfortunately a good-looking man.
Yeah. What Democrat are you unexpectedly attracted to?
Attracted to? I'm not saying AOC. If you want me to say AOC, I'm not saying AOC.
It must be AOC because I didn't even say anything about AOC.
No. Anna.
I think you want to say Alexandria.
No.
Yeah.
Anna.
Yeah. It's AOC. What Republican are you unexpectedly attracted to?
Oh. Marjorie Greene.
Whoa. I was not expecting that one.
Me either.
In any way, shape, or form. Republicans want to impeach Biden for corruption and bribery. Do you think that's valid, or is it just like a tit for tat because of the 2 times Trump has been impeached?
Well, I can tell you the former speaker went to conservatives a few months ago and said, hey, we are definitely impeaching Joe Biden. And then he went to House moderates the same day, 2 hours later, and said, we're never going to impeach Joe Biden. That should not be the answer. That's not leadership. What we should do is follow the facts, follow the truth, and then come to a decision at the right time once we've had due process, once we've shown evidence whether or not an impeachment is warranted. That's what the American people want. That's what they deserve, and that's what we should do. And I do believe the new speaker will follow due process. He's a constitutional attorney, but won't make that decision in haste. It should be made when it's warranted.
You don't think that's a waste of time with everything else that's going on?
Well, corruption is a real problem in this country. And I have seen bank accounts. It is. But I have seen bank accounts of the president's grandchildren with money directly from communist China. That should not be happening in our country. And it should be exposed for every American to see and then decide whether or not that's okay. Whether there's an impeachment or not, I want people to see the evidence that I've seen and make a decision for themselves.
Do you believe the evidence against Donald Trump?
Which evidence?
All, I mean, exactly.
What are we talking about?
Pick one. Pick one of the 91 charges.
Which indictment? I mean, which one?
There's a lot of them. Let's just say Georgia.
Georgia, that would be over the election fraud. I haven't seen the evidence yet. I haven't seen it. There will be a trial, and everyone is allowed, again, I do a lot of civil rights work, and everyone is allowed due process under the law, and if they're found guilty, they take responsibility for that. But I haven't seen evidence to show that he's guilty of that. Now, there are a lot of people around him that did a lot of things. There's that Sidney Powell that took like a database, like a voter database maybe, and I don't know.
Since he started campaigning, people started noticing that he's got something weird going on with his boots, and now he's being called out for it.
I'm sure your marketing team points out how they're trying to troll you in the marketplace. I've seen you walk with these boots. Go ahead and play this clip. This on TikTok went viral. This thing's got 1.2 million likes. And some people are wondering.
What are they? I don't even, I haven't seen that.
They've not shown this to you. Okay,
no.
What they're trying to say with this is that in your boots, you have heels.
No.
That's what they're trying to say.
Those are just standard off-the-rack Lucchese.
How tall are you, Governor? How tall
5'11".
5'11"? Okay. Why don't you wear tennis shoes and dress shoes?
I do wear tennis shoes when I work out. Yeah, 100%.
You do?
Yep.
Okay.
Yo, you know your campaign is going terribly wrong when people only want to talk about your shoes, okay? Yeah. We'll get to Israel and Palestine in a second. First, what the is up with those boots, bruh? Look, coming at this as a short person, I can't relate to this type of insecurity, okay? It's actually the opposite for me. I hate tall for no reason ass people. Like, why are you 6'8" and not in the NBA? Like, what a waste. We need a short president anyway, okay? People always talk about Napoleon complexes. Well, that guy ruled the entire continent. Abraham Lincoln was tall, and he got shot in the head. So you tell me You tell me who's more successful, okay? But at least now I know why DeSantis is in that huge fight with Disney. It's not because of wokeness. It's because you got to be this tall to ride the magic teacups. Obviously, there's a lot of terrible things happening in the Middle East. But what's crazy is that some Americans have responded to that by deciding that we need to make things bad over here, too.
And a warning tonight from the FBI director about the rising anti-Semitism and Islamophobia in the United States.
I will say that this is a threat that is reaching, in some ways, sort of historic levels.
The Anti-Defamation League reports since the war began, anti-Semitic incidents in the U.S. are up nearly 400% from the same period last year.
Muslim leaders are also reporting an uptick in hate crimes, with the Council on American Islamic Relations citing more than 800 complaints across the country since the beginning of October.
Well, saw that coming. We're so predictable with this bullshit, and it is bullshit, okay? You know things are bad when anti-Semitism is up 400% and Kanye hasn't even tweeted yet, okay? I swear, man, sometimes I think Americans only read the news so they know who to hate on, all right? Some people will hear about a war in Sudan and think, well, I never heard of this country before, but yeah, I could learn some new slurs, all right? America, we have got to stop hating people just because of their ethnicity or their religion and go back to hating them for the content of their character like Dr. King wanted, okay? And there's so much actual shit to hate on in the world, like matcha. What is that? Why is it in everything now? Hating Jews isn't going to fix the Middle East, but hating matcha could result in some real change on cafe menus, all right? Okay? Now, there's probably some people out there saying, well, I'm not Jewish or Muslim, so this doesn't involve me. Maybe even some black folks out there saying, hey, at least for a few minutes, the hate isn't directed at us for once. I can finally get a weekend off. But that's not really the way it works. Once hatred is unleashed, best believe, it spreads to everyone. Because unlike Mitch McConnell's brain, hate doesn't stop. I want to ask you about another South Carolinian, DNC Chair Jamie Harrison. He recently called you a MAGA minion and said that you were dangerous, out of touch, and a MAGA extremist governor who was a complete disaster for South Carolina. He said Nikki may be singing a different song now, but don't be fooled when it comes to the issues. She is just as extreme as the rest of the MAGA field, and the good people of South Carolina have had enough. Will you ever drink sweet tea with Jamie Harrison again?
Bless his heart. What I'll do is I'll pray for him. How about that?
That is a good South Carolina answer. That means F him, by the way. When you tell somebody you're going to pray for them in South Carolina, that means F you, Jamie.
And you know when you say bless your heart, that's a nice way of kicking with a smile.
Absolutely. My last question, are you wearing higher heels than Ron DeSantis next week at the debate so you can look taller than him on the stage?
I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. I can tell you, I've always talked about my high heels. I've never, hid that from anybody. I've always said don't wear them if you can't run in them. So we'll see if he can run in them.
Speaking of South Carolina, I was wondering if you could speak to your time in between your radio gig in Philly and the Breakfast Club back in like 09, 10, and I read somewhere that you spent a year back in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. I was wondering, after being laid off from that gig and then coming to New York City and doing something like the Breakfast Club, what that year taught you while you were in Moncks Corner.
Dang, you bringing back traumatic experiences. That was the fourth time I had gotten fired from radio. So when I got fired from doing morning radio in Philadelphia, that was the fourth time I got fired. And what was so interesting about that time, I was literally about to move. The day I got fired, I was literally moving into this townhouse that me and my now wife were going to live in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And I remember I had all of the stuff in the truck. And when I got fired, like it went viral that I got fired because it was like this silly rumor that Jay-Z got me fired. That was nonsense, but nobody cares about the truth when the lie is more entertaining. Plus it was a great headline, so it worked for me. And I remember I had all this stuff in the car, and I was picking up my guy, Lil Duval, from the airport on the same day because we were supposed to record. And I remember he knew I got fired, and he looked in the car, and he goes, oh, my dog homeless, And I remember we didn't have no place to stay in Jersey because we were moving, so we ended up living with my wife's grandmother in Coney Island for a couple of weeks. And then me and my wife and my, at the time, I think might have been like 2 years old, 2-year-old daughter, we all went back to Moncks Corner and, you know, stayed in Moncks Corner. And what I learned about myself, I learned that I am comfortable regardless of what the situation is. Like, I really do take whatever life presents me and deal with it. Because I'm a believer, right? I believe in the higher power. I believe in God. So I feel like, you know, I can't, you know, feel great when good things are happening and give God the credit, but then when things aren't necessarily going my way, just all of a sudden be upset at the world. So I was just like, whatever God is trying to show me in this moment, I'm going to learn it. And I really learned in that situation that I was happy with, you know, whatever I was presented with. I was 31, 32 years old, back home living with my mom in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. And being that I was too proud to collect unemployment checks those 4 times I got fired, I didn't collect them until that moment. And so I ended up getting an unemployment check every week for that whole year. And on the last unemployment check I got was the week that I drove up here to start the Breakfast Club. So God is good. Do I have to answer any more questions? Because you made me sad just now. Even though life is great, you know, man, you know, I used to sit here and watch Trevor and think he was just being fake deep for no reason. But y'all be asking some real questions, like, damn.